And it says that we are live. Welcome to Tea Talk with the Sisterhood. We meet every Wednesday from 1 p.m. until to discuss issues and solutions, but issues that are on the minds of the sisterhood. My name is Dr. Oya Ma'at, and I am the co-founder and president of Ed Anime Production. And each week, I'm telling you, I build with a group of powerful sisters on how we or what we should be doing to progress as a people. So before we get started, sisters, please introduce yourselves one by one. Tell the listening audience who you are and what do you do?
Sister Lima, you want to go first? Because I always go first.
Peace and love, family. Sister Alima Njai, also Alima La Poete. I am the author of Perceptions of a Misplaced African, Volume 1, available now on Amazon and Kindle. And thank you guys for joining us today.
Sister Raziki.
Okay. Peace and love, everyone. This is your sister. Was this the part where we show the flyers? Or
No, not yet. We didn't get
to okay. No problem. Okay, so peace and love, everyone. I'm your what? What happened?
Sister Raziki. Just introduce yourself.
Oh, I know you kept saying something. Okay, I'm Raziki Spira. Okay, that's it.
No, go ahead. Who are you? Tell them what do you do?
I'm your favorite sacred sexpert. I teach Tantra. I also practice it on my client Tantric Healing. And I'm also owner of Nature's Crown International. And we are a company that provides products and services in green and solar energy. Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic. And I just want to, next I would like to venerate the ancestors, but usually we venerate, folks who, fought for the liberation of our. I just really today want to take the time to acknowledge brothers and sisters who have been or who are victims of police brutality. We lost a lot of them and they are now ancestors. So if you sisters don't mind, I would like to call the names of a lot of brothers and sisters, not a lot, but maybe 20 brothers and sisters who were murdered by police officers who are now ancestors, and their cases resulted in a non-conviction. So if you guys don't mind, I would like to honor, some of these people. Is that okay? Or
so it can be man and woman.
Man and woman. I was just going to honor some of those folks because they've really been on my mind, but they are ancestors now. And so I wanted to, acknowledge them and pay homage to them. So I guess I wouldn't ask you to call. I don't want you to respond with Ashe after each name because it's like 20 names. So I just want to take the time out right now to think or to honor Philando Castile, Terrence Crutcher, Sandra Bland, Eric Garner, Mike Brown, Rakia Boyd, Sean Bell, Tamia Rice, Freddie Gray, Dan Roy Henry, Oscar Grant, Ayanna Jones, Amadou Diallo, Trayvon Martin, John Crawford, Jonathan Forel, Timothy Stansberry, Alton Sterling, Keith Childress, Betty Jones, Kevin Matthews, Clint Allen, Leroy Browning, Roy Nelson, Miguel Espanol, Nathaniel Pinkett, Cornelius Brown, Chandra Weaver, Jamal Clark, Corinne Gaines, Richard Perkins, Stephen Tucson, Michael Lee Marshall, Alonzo Smith, Van Sade, Anthony Ashworth, Lamont Eds Jones, Rashawn Coyle, and Dante Martin. Would you sisters like to add anybody else or anyone that I missed?
Yeah, I would like to acknowledge H. Rap Brown, Fred Hampton, Medgar Evers, Harry and Harriet Moore, of course, our brother Malcolm X.
Yes.
And, that's it for me right now.
Sister Alima?
Oh, my bad. I had it on mute. Okay. Brother Akai Gurley, Rumaine Brisbane, Kajim Powell, Ezell Ford, Dante Parker,
Yes.
Tyree Woodson, Victor White III, Yvette Smith, Mackenzie Cochran, Jordan Baker, Andy Lopez, Miriam Carey, Jonathan Farrell, Carlos Alces, Larry Eugene Jackson, Dion Flood, Kamani Gray, Johnny Warren, Melissa Williams, Ronaldo Suevez, Shavis Carter, Chantel Davis, Charmel Edwards, Timon Robinson, Irvin Jefferson, Kendrick McDade, Rakia Boyd, and Sharice Francis.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Asheo.
So today's topic is, what is the blueprint for nation building? But before we get to today's topic, let's discuss some hot topics, because I know that the sisters have a lot going on this summer, and I want the folks to know where they can find you and how they can support you. Sister Alima, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to lock it into my screen so you can discuss your upcoming event down in Atlanta. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So please tell us what you got going on July the 7th. And boy, I wish I could be building.
Yes, I am excited to be finally having my first poetry reading for Perceptions of the Misplaced African Volume 1. It is going to be at 875 York Avenue Southwest here in Atlanta. So if you are in Atlanta and the surrounding areas, or you will be there on July the 7th, from 6:30 to 7:30, you can come out and hear some poems. And I'll tell you a little bit about what inspired me with those poems. You can also grab some great vegan food. To that, some Caribbean vegan food is one of the best in the city. Black owned, by the way, so you can come support your people. You can get your copy of your book signed, or you can purchase a copy if you'd like. But I can't wait to see everybody. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited.
Yes, and sis, are you guys going to live stream it? Are you recording it?
I'm gonna get somebody to record it for me, and then I'll post it.
Good, because I wanna. Oh man, I know that's gonna be a beautiful event. You know, just seeing you in action and reading. You know, doing the poetry readings and then explaining to the people, you know, what inspired you. That's gonna be hot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
brothers. Yes, so brothers and sisters, if you are in Atlanta, please come down and support this sister Alima. I'm telling you, I have the book here, and the book is very powerful. And then, sis, could you explain to the people how your book differs from most poetry books? Because it does, but I don't think that I would be good at explaining it. But explain how it's different. You know, how your book is different, how it differs from, you know, most poetry books.
I would say the average poetry book typically centers around specific subjects, and it's usually life and love is what I typically sum it up to.
Yes.
But specifically in life, they don't necessarily always talk about the things that we personally endure. And for me, as an advocate for African people, I felt that it was important for me to use my voice to share what it is that we have experienced here, different truths that I have learned, lies that we still believe. And, you know, I just felt that the ancestors wanted me to tell their truths and tell their story. And so this is just volume 1, and I want to have 2 more volumes.
Yes.
To really just talk about, you know, what we experience from an African perspective. And misplaced at that, because we're definitely misplaced.
Yes, that's right. And we are true indeed. So thank you for that, Sister Alima. And, you know, I just wish I was in the Atlanta area. I keep telling you that I'm trying to get down there with my children.
Come on.
I just, you know, you and I, when we were talking today offline, we were just saying the importance of living around like-minded people.
That's right.
And I can honestly, you know, admit that I don't. You know, in my community, we don't. You know, there aren't a lot of like-minded folks, you know, living together here in Baltimore. And so, you know, I need to get down there, because a lot of the people that I do build with, you guys are in Atlanta. You know, you're in Atlanta, Sister Riziki's in Atlanta. And so I got to make my way down there. So Sister Riziki, tell me what you got going on, sis, this summer.
Okay, so Let me pull up my stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about is my my Grand Trine Tantra Tier 1 class, which is entitled Breaking Blockages. It starts September 2nd. I have my first couple. They're actually in North Dakota. I was like, damn, there's Black people in North Dakota, but you know, I'm happy they enrolled, so that's good. And again, this is a system or a healing modality, if you will, that definitely takes us through the personality dysfunctions we have accumulated throughout the traumas that we've experienced. We deal with understanding how to relate positively with the opposite sex, a lot of self-healing going on. We also deal with genital reflexology and energy work, and we also discuss other topics like epigenetics, orthomolecular nutrition. We understand the science of the body, the endocrine system, understanding how all these channels work to better help us in our work. And we also deal with the negative womb imprints, and anybody who needs to go through a second puberty, we help you in that rites of passage as well. And I'll get into that at another time. But the next event I have going on starts July 15th. It's called the Sexual Healing Series. And this is an event to introduce the African American community, or African community, Moorish, whatever you want to, we calling ourselves these days, to the healing properties of sexual energy and sex. So we'll be going through how to heal trauma through cultivating sexual energy, awakening your reproductive systems for those who have, you know, issues in that area. What is a Tantra table session? What the freak does it do? Well, you know, how does it help? And we'll be giving live demonstrations as well. And for those who are, you know, just interested beforehand as far as what all we do, definitely take a look at my Instagram page. Oh, sorry, those are cats. So we do a lot of breath work. We learn about Qigong and how the importance of the breath relates to our health. We also, this was our live model. We had, you know, actual man come in. He let us practice on him as far as table work and, you know, genital reflexology. And as you can see, this is just our Atlanta family, but we have, well, part of it, but it's a lot of us learning this work. And you see the men in the group, which is beautiful. Our power weekend, these are the men working on the women, and other women supporting the men to help them understand how to help heal us as well. So understand, like, when you join my class, it's not just the class, you're actually joining a community as well, a village. Like, we take our work serious. We check in with each other every month. This is why we have all these events and stuff going on. And we'll be coming to South Carolina in September, and we're also coming to Charlotte, I believe, in November. So just like we did our DC trip, we're going to be coming to South Carolina and well, Charleston, South Carolina, and Charlotte, North Carolina. So yeah, look forward to meeting everybody.
Oh yeah, fantastic going on, sis. Sound like the sisters have a lot going on. I know there's a sister in the chat room, Sister Dealaire Briggs.
Oh yeah.
Try to restart your computer, because I sent you the panel link to join us. So just try to, like, I don't know, restart your phone, reboot your computer and see if it'll work for you. But I sent you the same exact link. I sent you the same link that all of us use to access the Hangout. And just try to reboot your whatever device you're using to get on. Try to reboot it and click the link again, because we would love to have you. But thank you for that, Sister Riziki. Let me share my screen so I can show folks what I have going on, what we have coming up. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So Meltrek is now being shown at museums who are hosting Black film festivals.
Yay!
Thank you, sis. So at the Newark Museum show, and I'm showing right now a picture of the outside of the Newark Museum, they're having a Black film festival on July the 19th at 1 p.m. And they will be showing Meltrek Exploring Ancient Africa. And we plan on being there. We're going to discuss the process that we use to produce Meltrek. So we're giving it all to the people. We're showing you what we did and how we did it so you can go and replicate what we did. And so we'll be there to do a presentation on our process. And we'll also be there to answer questions about the film. So that's going to be on July the 19th at the Newark Museum. They have a brochure online. Let me see if I can enlarge this. I'm not sure if I can. I can zoom in. Oops, I think I zoomed in too much. But let me try to zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so this is the brochure that they have online. We're at the bottom. They'll also be showing Meltrek on July the 17th at 10:30 a.m. at the Newark. So it's going to be shown in Newark at two places. Monday, July the 17th at 10:30 a.m. at the Newark Public Library. We won't be there, but we will be at the event on Wednesday, July the 19th at 1 p.m. at the Newark Museum. As that, Meltrek Episode 2 will also be shown at this year's Black Market and Film Festival on July the 29th in the UK. So if you go to, they have an Eventbrite page, but if you go there, you'll get all of the details. So it's going to be shown at West Green Learning Center at Parkville Academy. So this is the flyer that's been circulating online. Episode 2 will be shown, it says at 12:15 p.m. UK premiere of Meltrek Episode 2, Exploring the Pre-Columbian Americas. So this will be shown there in the UK at their Black Market.
We're communicating.
So if you guys are in the UK, please come out and support these events. So that's what we got going on. Any other hot topics, sisters?
Not that I know of.
Okay, cool.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, wait, I got one. My husband's book, him and sister Naomi Bradley, Aaron Knows About Africa, is now available in Meadow Bookstore in Atlanta.
Excellent.
So in Atlanta, you can also cop that right at the bookstore if you're in the Greenbrier Mall.
Excellent. I love that book, sis. Go ahead, Sister Raziki. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I had one more too. I apologize. I forgot. So can y'all see my screen?
Yes, we can. But hold up, sis. Before you say that, I just wanted to definitely please support that book. Aaron Knows About Africa. Jalen, okay. I want him to bring you the book. It's an excellent book that teaches children about Africa. Bring your book to me, honey. Your Aaron Knows About Africa book. Bring that to me. And see, so when I'm talking about these products, I just want the viewers to know I'm not just, telling you to go get it and I don't have it. I'm not telling you to go get Perceptions of a Misplaced. I don't have it. I'm not telling you to go get Aaron Knows About Africa and I don't have it. When I say that I highly recommend these books, I stand by that because I've read these books. My son, in fact, just read Aaron Knows About Africa probably for the third or fourth time a few days ago. And it's a brilliant book to teach our babies about where they come from. Yeah. You go to different places, you explore Egypt, Nigeria, Ghana, and it teaches the children facts about these different places. Jalen, hurry up and get the book, honey. It teaches the children, so it teaches our babies where they come from. So now you're learning that you don't come from this dark continent, as Eurocentric education would have you to believe. It teaches our babies that we come from places that had thriving cultures, and that's what they learn from. They learn that we came from great civilizations, and so I'm telling you, please get that book and please support that book. So I'm trying to wait for him to get it to me. But go ahead, Sister Raziki. In the meantime, I'll wait.
Yeah, this I totally forgot, but this is another event that I'm speaking at in October in Destin, Florida. It's from Live, Heal, Thrive, and it's called the Art of Sacred Sexuality Retreat. And Brian and Karen, which is this couple here, they're us. I've been doing their retreats consecutively for like 3 or 4 years now, and like I transform every single time that I go. I just get better and better. Not only as an instructor, because I'm teaching there, but just from what I learned from the other presenters and the people, like the environment to hear, the environment to be in, that's not only a safe space, but it's also a place where I get to hear some of the deepest, darkest, secrets or thoughts or feelings that men and women have that actually make my work better and also help us understand what's going on within the African family. So again, if you're in Destin, Florida, there is definitely a powerful event that is in your area. So sacredsexualityretreat.com. Definitely look that up, and I will definitely be there. And again, not only myself, but we have 2 male presenters as well, which I think is awesome, because I think a lot of men need to get more into this arena of actually offering other solutions to men about how to be more dynamic in relationships as a husband, as a father, and just as a member of your community. So that's all. Thanks. That's all I got. Sis?
You know what? And I was just talking my head off just now.
I
was just talking, and it was on me. So I'll repeat what I said. I was saying that I said thank you for that, Sister Riziki. I said we're getting ready to start the show. And when we were offline, I asked the sisters if I had their permission to play this video. Each time that we have Tea Talk with the sisters, I want to play a video reminding Black women of their beauty, of our beauty, and of our strength, and of our brilliance. And so the sister said, yeah, Dr. Ma, I play, you go ahead and play the video. I think it's a good idea. The video is for about 1 minute, and it's Dr. John Henry Clark and Ivan Van Sertima just discussing the brilliance of the Black woman. And so I said, well, each week when we have Tea Talk with the sisters, I want to remind the listening audience of the beauty, brilliance, and strength of the Black woman. I actually got the video from, I believe it was the Armin Ross Squad page or the Real Black Atheist page. And a few months back, I asked Brother Ankh if I had his permission to put the video on my page, and he said yes. And I want to actually incorporate that video into the Tea Talk with the sisters. So I'm going to play the video, and I want you to witness and bask in the brilliance of the Black woman. So here we go, family.
To come out, which shows that a Black woman mothered all people on the planet at this time. Woman, in fact, is physiologically more complex than the male. Hence, Eve cannot come out of Adam. Only Adam can come out of Eve. Africans created the myth of Isis and Osiris. Isis and Osiris, unlike Adam and Eve, gives you a vision of the completeness of the human through the equality of the male and the female. We understood that the role of the one, while being different, was equal in importance. And there were times when the role of a woman and the role of a man was one and the same. Many of the goddesses of the Europeans were Black. The goddess of chastity was a Black woman, Artemis. They could have chosen their own women. They chose some of their own women. Important goddesses were Black. As the life giver, we recognize that role as being over and above something that man could do. And that is the woman. Of the southern and eastern Africa, that is the Black woman, total, final, complete. Homo sapiens sapiens, that produces. That is the fundamental mother of mankind.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Had to start it off like that, sis. Had to start it off like that.
I know that's right.
All right, so let's get to it.
That was powerful.
So yes, that you said that was powerful, Sister Riziki?
That was. I never even seen that video. I never even heard that. I mean,
yes,
I heard it in other, you know what I'm saying? But the way that was just really dope. I got to look at it again.
Yes, that video, I'm telling you, it energizes me every time I watch it. So I want brothers and sisters who are in the chat room, who are viewing the video later, who will be viewing the video later in the archives, man, just to see that video, man, and just bask in the brilliance, the strength, you know, and the power of the Black woman. So let's get to the topic at hand, sisters, because I know time is ticking. But the question is, what is the blueprint for nation building? Now, I was on the phone, and you know, there's always a you know, an impetus, you know, to these shows that we do. I called Sister Alima this morning, and I was frustrated, and I'm like, sis, you know, there's a lot of going back and forth about, you know, about Dr. Wesley Muhammad's statement, his statement that he made on the Black Breakfast Club. Sisters, do you want me to find a video and play the clip? I think the clip is only for about a minute. You guys want to just play?
You said who was on there?
Sis.
She blanked out.
Sister Alima, Sister Riziki, do you guys want me to play the 1 minute clip?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let me play the clip. And while I'm playing the clip, while I'm looking for it, Sister Alima, can you kind of talk about what's hold on, let me go to videos. Okay. Dr. Issa. Okay, here it is. They played a clip in the beginning. Okay, so Wesley Muhammad, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, he was on the Breakfast Club. Okay, let me share my screen. He was on a Breakfast Club, and he made a statement regarding degrees in Africana studies. And so let me play it for you.
You need more education to get into work.
Some kids say to me that they don't feel like they need college because they see people that are successful that never pursued higher education.
And that's true. Everybody doesn't need college. And the fact of the matter is, most of us are pursuing DS as in full as degree. I mean, because we're pursuing fields that aren't practical.
Well, talk about it. What are some of those degrees that people are pushing towards?
Well, folks will get mad at me.
Let them get mad.
But 4 years, $80,000 for an African history degree. That's not practical. African history can get knowledge without incurring the debt. The stifling debt that college education imposes on us. And when we get that degree, it has very little practicality. That's not a nation building skill. But a lot of us are running to get an African history degree. I'm not disrespecting those who are experts who have their degrees in Africana studies, but I would not, as conscious as I like to think I am, as pro-Black as I am, I would not recommend or even allow my children to pursue an African studies or Black studies degree.
So what
in college?
What do you?
So I'm not going to play the entire interview, but Dr. Wesley Muhammad went on to say that that he would recommend that we pursue degrees in the fields of STEM. I don't disagree with that. I actually have a degree in STEM. I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. and I have a doctorate degree in engineering. So it's a doctorate of engineering degree. And my focus was signal processing. So we're talking about communications. And that was my focus. And I highly recommend that we do pursue the STEM fields. There aren't a lot of us who are getting degrees in STEM. And so I definitely, would encourage us to do that. But I would not discount those or discourage those or deter people from getting a degree in Africana studies. In fact, I was sharing with Sister Alima this morning that initially I wanted to pursue a degree in Africana studies when I was an undergrad. And my mother, she said no, because my mom was at the time, she actually was an assistant principal. This is in 1999. And she was just explaining to me how hard it is how hard it is to make it in this world with, a degree in education. And she didn't want me to struggle. So she said, I want you to pursue, going to give you something that's going to grant you a good job so you can make a lot of money. And she said that I was always good with math and science. So, she brought home a magazine and it listed the top degrees. And at the top was computer engineering. And at the time, Morgan State University did not have a computer engineering program. They had electrical, industrial, and civil. But, within the electrical engineering track, you do take computer engineering courses, even though that was. So I chose electrical engineering. So, my mom was kind of age as Dr. Wesley Muhammad was. But, he, for him to say that that having a degree in Africana studies is not a nation building or tool for nation building, I would have to disagree with my brother. And, I love him to death, but I would have with my brother. We need it all. We need brothers and sisters who understand, history and culture. And we need brothers and sisters who are builders, brothers and sisters who systems. So I think that we need it all, because when you build a nation has to be predicated on some sort of culture. Now, let me read something. Let me read an excerpt out of Nation Building by Kwame Akoto. Kwame Akoto, author of Nation Building, he said that nation building is predicated upon awareness and cultural consciousness. Let me say that again. Nation building is predicated upon historical awareness and cultural consciousness. To engage in nation building, the leadership of the nation, cultural group, or community must work to interact generations of miseducation and the consequent psychic dependency, self-hatred, misguided loyalties, and inferiority complex of our people. Cultural conscious parents within individual families have in fact acted to re-educate themselves and then collectively sought to counteract the culturally debilitating effect of media and popular sentiment on our children. The nation, several communities and families additionally have responded by establishing. So he's going into nation building, but the key sentence was that nation building is predicated upon historical awareness and cultural consciousness. So our brothers and sisters who decide to pursue a degree in Africana studies, I wouldn't deter them from doing so, because I think that we need it all. We need brothers and sisters who are aware of our culture, who are aware of our history. That is the foundation of building a nation. What do you sisters have to add, or what are your thoughts on the comments made by our dear brother, Dr. Wesley Muhammad?
I was trying to figure out what was his. Oh, I have an echo.
Oh. Sister Alima?
Is it still echoing?
No, I don't hear an echo.
Okay, it's just on my end. Okay. Well, I'm just trying to figure out, he says that he doesn't feel that it's necessary, but he didn't really, I didn't get listened further. Did he counteract that with why he felt it wasn't necessary?
I know he went on to say, he kept on saying, he said that we have the knowledge. he said we have the knowledge, and he was saying that I don't think you need to spend, 80 grand on, trying to get knowledge of self. He was saying you don't have to do that. If he said it doesn't have any practicality. I would have to go back in and re-listen to it, because I did listen to it when it first aired. But since then, a lot of people have been on this comment about Africana studies, and brothers and sisters who have degrees in Africana studies were highly offended by his comments. And remember, Sister Alima, when I was on the telephone with you, I was saying that I understood, or I think I understand where he was coming from. Maybe it was just worded poorly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And ended up,
because I definitely understand, and I agree.
Yeah, like I get it, but I think that I get what he was trying to convey, but I think that the way he conveyed it, offended a lot of brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
I do believe that we should be pursuing, more of us should be pursuing a degree in STEM. I mean, technology makes the world go round. In fact, in Kwame Akoto's book, Nationbuilding, he talks about why the European was successful on page 12. And let me read that to you guys. On page 12, he says that during the colonial era, Europe was the center of technological development and dominated the world as a consequence. Let me say that again. During the colonial era, Europe was the center of technological development and dominated the world. So we got to get back into the sciences. We need the STEMs. Okay. He said it is clear now, given the ethnic nationalism, that technological mastery was a transient cloak over the much deeper and essential features of national culture. The so-called success for whites, Europeans, and America was due entirely to the confluence of three factors: abundance of land and natural resources, he said, in the Western Hemisphere; B, the Europeans' new technological proficiency; and C, the European moral vastness that permitted them to systematically and callously eradicate the indigenous American population and possess their lands, destroy the civilizations of Africa, enslave its people, and take possession of African land and natural resources. Europeans were thereby under adequate wealth and opportunity to ameliorate any potential ethnic rivalry amongst themselves. The important point here is that culture is much deeper and more essential to the historical. Oh, he said than technological achievement. Wait a minute. He said that culture is the basis on which technology is built. Whoa. He says further, technologies reflect the historical, cultural assumptions of the nations in which they are spawned. Powerful. So he's saying that it's all rooted in your culture, which is your history, right? Which is your history, which is your language. So he's saying that culture spawns technology. So, what do you sisters had to say about this? What do you have to say about, this whole thing? Because I mean, I get what he was saying, but we can't dismiss our brothers and sisters who have degrees in Africana studies. We can't. I would not say that it's the impractical degree, or that it has no practicality. I would not go as far as saying that. And again, that's my brother. I'm not trying to bang on him, but I think that it was just how he worded it.
Does he have a degree?
Yes, he does have a degree, and I think it's in Islamic studies.
Okay, so
I believe. I know that he has a
that degree.
Yeah,
in Islamic studies is definitely. I could say that. How is that going to benefit us in nation building?
Yeah.
I have a degree, but it's not in like African studies or nothing. But here, just having a degree, period, in advertising, for example, right? Everything I learned in that school, I could have learned being under some kind of mentor and spent that $80,000 investing in a business or whatever the case may be. So when he says that, I totally understand, and I do agree to a degree. The school system where we are learning African American studies, to me, I just don't feel it would be as extensive as investing your $80,000 into actually going to Africa, living there, studying under a shaman, or whatever your goal is, you know. But I also understand, unfortunately, the country that we're in, they require a piece of paper to say, hey, I'm qualified to be able to perform this job or teach this, irregardless to the outside experience I've had based around it. And a lot of these people who are talking about, well, you know, I didn't have to go to college to do this, that, and the third. It's the very same thing that I'm talking about. These people wanted to learn coding, and instead of going to school, they invested their money in getting their own particular training or whatever. And a lot of people, and I've been on jobs where there's people who don't have degrees who know way more and are experienced way more than people with degrees. And also knowing the state that we are in right now, it's kind of like when people want to talk about, oh, well, you know, we needed to do polygamy and all this stuff because the time we were in, we needed to populate the earth and our men was getting killed in the war. Well, the time that we're in right now, as Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about in one of his speeches, without reparations, we're going to continue to fall behind. So the time that we're in right now, you know, do we think do we think more of our people should be investing their time into STEM so that we can stay competitive, so that we can actually, you know, build our communities and all this stuff? Or should we invest in sending them to an institution that's not giving them the extensive education and culture that they can experience on their own?
We should invest in both. I think for some reason,
yes, I was just about to say it.
Idea that
I'm sorry, Aleem. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom, Sister Aleem.
And
wait, go ahead.
Say it again, because you're low. Multiple roads in order to get to where we need to get to. And guess what? A lot of those things are going to take people to go to school. If you're talking about building a nation, you need doctors, you need lawyers, you need politicians. You have to go to school for this stuff. You can teach your stuff all you want to, but when we're talking about actually building a nation and outside of just conversation, it takes schooling. Because when you're talking about formulating a government, in which you're going to have to deal with the government that's already here, just in case people don't realize that. They don't give a shit how many books you read. They don't care. The white people care about that piece of paper. So right. When I talk about making moves and actually building a nation, it's going to take a lot of people that have degrees. So this attitude that people have that where I don't need a degree, I can self-teach myself, true indeed, you can. But there's a lot of shit that you can't teach yourself. And even if I taught myself to be the best surgeon in the world, no one's going to let me operate on them if I have not operated on people. And you probably won't get the chance to operate on people unless you have that motherfucking degree. That's just realistic.
Right, but that's what I was talking about as far as, okay, of course, there are some degrees where like, duh, that's a no-brainer. But in this particular example, he's referring to a degree in studying a culture. I understand. I'm not talking about politics and government. I can understand why you would need training to learn how to manage a large group of people, why you would need training and understanding law and all. I completely understand that. I'm talking about specifically what this clip was related to as far as going to school and like, for instance, I don't even want to say HBCU. I would feel better if you go to a Black institution learning about African studies, okay? But any university, like if I had a child and I say, you know what, I prefer them get a degree in STEM versus a degree in learning about a culture that is their own, that the school would not be able to give them the extensive exposure as they would if it's something that they pursued on their own. Do I personally feel that a culture should be, you being able to teach me a culture should come from a piece of paper from a university? My personal belief, no. I'd rather learn from a person who lived there, who's traveled there, who's did all this other stuff, you know. And that's just me specifically in that degree. Everything else, I can agree that yes, some things you need a piece of paper, but to me, me personally, I would not go to a school to get a piece of paper to teach me about a culture that's my own.
But see, I think that's personal choice. I don't think I don't think that anybody should make a statement, a blanket statement. I don't like blanket statements. If you're going to say that I personally feel it wouldn't be good for me, then say that. But don't discourage another young brother or sister who may possibly be thinking about getting a degree in those studies. And then you saying, well, I don't think it's necessary and it's irrelevant and it's a waste of time. And let me just keep it hot. Okay, because I'm gonna keep it hot, unlike most people don't. Most people that go to school to get degrees, y'all got financial aid, so you can cut the bullshit with this 80,000. You ain't spending 80,000 out your pocket. Most people that go to school, the government is paying for you to go to school, and you have an option to take out student loans. Typically, financial aid is enough. So people who take out student loans is because you wanted to, or other people went to go be a doctor or a lawyer and they needed it. But just a regular degree like African studies, I probably bet that financial aid will cover that. So number one, you ain't paying out of pocket. So we can take the whole $80,000 deal off the table, because I don't know a lot of people who pay out of pocket to go to college because there is financial aid and because most people can't afford to pay for it out of pocket. So that ain't the reason. Don't use the money as a reason, because most people ain't paying to go to school. And that's facts.
Yeah, and most people don't actually pay to start a bit. I mean, the loan and the financial aid, at the end of the day, it's still I see what you mean. You're not paying out of pocket, but for some people, they still feel obligated to pay back that loan. So
but you have to pay back a loan. I'm talking about financial aid. That's a grant. You don't pay back grants.
I don't know a lot of people who got $80,000 grants. I do know a lot of people who get loans. Like there's grants that'll pay like a couple $1,000s. I don't know. Everybody's experience is different, but at some form or fashion, you do come out of pocket for your schooling, rather straight up, or you're forced to pay back these loans, or else it's going to affect your credit or whatever the case. So either way, we are money.
I mean, I know plenty of people that went to school and didn't pay for their schooling because financial aid covered it all. If you're getting a $6,000 grant every semester and your classes cost $2,000, and then you get your books, I mean, you got plenty of money left over.
Yeah, I wish I qualified for that, because Lord knows I had to pay, honey.
Well, it also depends on, of course, your situation, sis. So if you don't have kids and different shit like that, then of course you're not eligible.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's different strokes for different folks. But I mean, I understand this point. But, I understand both sides. I guess it's just what's for the good of the all. I guess.
Let me get in though. I just want to chime in, sis, because I have to agree with Sister Alima and in that we need it all. I think we need it all. We need folks who are experts in our history and our culture, and we need folks who understand STEM. I think that we need it all. And but I would never, for example, Jalen, he loves history. That's my 7-year-old son. If he came and told me that he wanted to get a degree in Africana studies, I would not deter him from doing so.
Exactly.
I wouldn't. My son Isaiah, he's going to be going to Howard University, not this school year, but next school year. He's aiming to go there, and he wants to pursue a degree in business. And this isn't STEM, but I'm not going to deter him from doing that. So I think that it's all needed, and that it all can be applied, that it's all practical, because in nation building, we need it all. We need STEM. We need folks who understand history. We need folks that understand culture. We need folks that understand business. I would not discount somebody's degree. Now, and if you tell me that you got a degree, even if you got a degree in gym, would I spend $80,000, or would I go get financial aid to go and pursue, a degree in physical education? Not me, but we do need people who understand physical education. We know, so we need it all at the end of the day. So I would never discount someone's degree and say that it's not practical. I think that was kind of like poor. It was harsh, and I think I understand what he was trying to say.
Me too.
But he just kind of said it in a way that that offended a lot of folks. That's all. And then I was also sharing with Sister Alima. I was also sharing with Sister Alima how, and I'm not trying to go in on this conscious community, but goddamn, something got to be said. This conscious community. Now, granted, you have people like Dr. Issa, Brother Reggie. They, sign that in them. They put out a video addressing Dr. Wesley Muhammad's comments. Rightfully so. These brothers are hot. These brothers have, invested their time, energy, and money into Africana studies. So they were offended by his comments. So they spoke out about it. Great. If it offended you and you want to get it off your chest, by all means do so. But when I was reading the comments, then you got these bandwagon folks, just stirring up trouble, trolls. And I found it kind of hypocritical and ironic that this is the same community that does not embrace people who have degrees. So now you are upset with Dr. Wesley Muhammad, and I'm not talking about Dr. Issa, I'm not talking about Brother Reggie or any of them. I'm saying that there are folks in the community who in one breath don't respect degrees, but in the next breath get upset with Dr. Wesley Muhammad for calling a particular type of degree impractical. It makes no sense. I'm gonna start calling the conscious community the damn confused community, because I see a lot of confused individuals in that damn community. So you don't respect degrees and you call it the white man's degree, and then you get upset with a brother who calls a degree or a type of degree impractical. Make up your minds. Either you respect the degree or you don't. And I think that a lot of people don't in that community don't respect degrees because they don't understand what degrees are. They don't understand what they signify. They don't understand what it takes to get the degree. So of course they don't respect the degree. Hell, probably 75% of them don't have one.
Right.
So they don't have
and they don't respect them either. They don't respect them either, sis, because the whole notion in this goddamn community is that you can teach yourself whatever the fuck you want to learn. That is the notion in this community.
Exactly.
That we no longer need degrees because you can teach yourself anything under the sun that you want to learn. And I'm here to tell y'all that's a bunch of bullshit. If you think that I'm going to sit and teach myself about astrophysics or something like that, fuck no. I can read 1,000,000 books about it. But guess what? I need someone to teach it to me, even when it comes to spirituality. Right. I have read so many books on Ifa and the different Orishas, and I still am like an infant.
And you got to learn from a teacher.
Because I have to learn from an actual teacher, and he learned from an actual teacher. Some things you ain't going to learn just from your homeboy or your grandma that know a whole bunch of stuff. You might actually have to get some schooling. And what's wrong with that?
How do we define that, though? Because I think another thing that people get confused about is when they say self-taught, you really think a person means like only teaching self versus I myself can go out and find teachers to teach me.
Well, that's not self-taught then. You didn't self-teach yourself. That's not what self-teaching yourself is. Self-taught is that's what I'm trying to explain to you is that there's a different perception, because this is what these are the conversations I have as well. I understand like literally self-taught means self-teach. So whereas other people like self-taught, no, I had to go out and find my own teacher. Like they still accredit that to them self-teaching as far as me making the decision, I need to go and find this teacher and learn under them. And it may not come under a degree. Right.
And as far as, the conscious community and respecting degrees and all this other stuff, I'll say this for me personally. The one thing I can say I appreciate about going to college and going through all that process to get a degree is the people that I've met. The relationships that I've built and the opportunities I was able to gain from it. I really think that everybody puts their whole college or learning experience on that piece of paper. And it's to me, college was more than just that. I don't even have my degree on my wall because I still owe the institution $2,000 for them to mail me my degree. So in that instance, I literally don't give a fuck about that physical piece of paper. But right. I do pride myself on the amount of hard work and dedication and focus and study that I had to endure in order for me to be qualified to even get that piece of paper. You see what I'm saying? So for me personally, yeah, no, I don't care. It doesn't matter. But I do understand the importance of that piece of paper in order to operate in this matrix. Because a lot of conscious people will say, fuck the white man, you know, whatever. But you're still a part of the system.
Thank you, sis.
In order to survive or maintain or prosper, you got to learn the game, play it, and be good at it. And
that's right.
So if I got, you know, so for me, I literally only got that piece of paper, and I'm telling you the God's honest truth. The only reason why I decided to finish college was because I understood how these institutions viewed me without that piece of paper. My GPA won't high at all, but I got my piece of paper, and that helped me get paid more. And that's how I view that piece of paper.
So let me interject. I just want to add to what your sisters are saying. I want folks, and I put this on Facebook a long time ago. I want people to really understand that, you know, that educational institutions aren't a European invention. Let's establish that.
Exactly.
Right.
And we had educational institutions long before Greece, long before they even established. I mean, they came to us.
Exactly.
They studied at our feet. So the whole notion of going to a university to pursue higher learning is not a European thought. It is not.
Exactly.
You know, higher learning and going to universities and studying under somebody and all of that, that is not a European invention. So for somebody to say that the desire, you know, to attend, you know, an institution of higher learning is the white man's.
That's stupid. That's stupid. That's stupid.
That's what they think in this community, though.
Yeah, that's what they think. And degrees are not degrees and all of that. That is not an invention of the white man. So let's cut that out. I want to add that to that. When I went to college, and I am so proud of my degree. I don't care what people say. I know what it took to get that degree. I remember, you know, studying day in and day out. I remember sometimes laying in my bed crying because I was like, Ma, I don't want to do engineering. I just rather just get a math degree. I said, this is too hard. I'm upset because my circuit isn't working. I'm upset because my code isn't running right. I know what I put into getting a degree in electrical engineering. I know what it took to get my doctorate of engineering. And what I'm saying is through that process, I'm gonna be honest, I learned how to think. I know a lot of people believe that you know how to think. No, thinking is a skill that needs to be taught. And going through that process of obtaining my degree, going through that process of obtaining my doctoral degree taught me how to be a critical thinker. That's what engineering taught me, how to critically think. And that's a big difference. Thinking and critical thinking is two different things. It taught me how to think. It taught me how to critically think. It taught me how to problem solve. It taught me independent research. It taught me how to formulate a solid research methodology that would yield fruitful results. This is what going to college taught me. So it's not just a piece of paper. It's the process you have to go through. Yes, it's about the entire. It's about the entire experience of it all.
Yes, exactly.
I definitely want to add that. And so, you know, we got to get off this kick. These and schools are an invention of the European, because it's not.
But what you said though, sis, critical thinking is something that is severely lacking amongst the conscious community. That's why I always say, like, my husband, I really appreciate my husband in a lot of ways because we as women, especially, even though I've learned that a lot of men are this way, but we as women are very emotional. And so when you're not emotional, you're not logical.
Right.
And so I noticed that most people in this community, they operate emotions over logic.
Yes.
So therefore they lack critical thinking.
Because it's anger. They're angry all the time.
Exactly. So it's like, but if you don't know how to fix your own process of how you think, then you would probably need someone to help you.
Right.
And like you said, college does help you in that way, because you have to take a lot of classes, sociology, psychology. You take a lot of classes that are going to help to build the way you think.
Right.
And that's important when you're talking about building a nation.
But do you think too that, and because going back to the African mind and how we learn, and for me, like, okay, what I had to learn to do is not so much pay attention what people say, but why they're saying it and where it's coming from. So when we talk about, yes, we've always had universities and schools of higher learning. But I think too, because the conscious community is like, well, you know, they're saying the piece of paper don't mean shit as far as a degree, but there was, even in our civilization, degrees of knowledge. I don't know if we gave pieces of paper. I don't know if I don't know what we did for a person, for somebody to say, hey, this person accomplished this level of degree of knowledge or whatever the case. But I also feel that too, the conscious community gets angry because of who we're learning from. Like, I feel, the conscious community here in Atlanta, well, from what I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't see as much anger about us graduating from HBCUs versus, oh, well, you went to this institution that's taught by the white man and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, yo, as long as the information, sometimes how I feel, depending on what it is, I don't give a damn who the information comes from as long as it's right and exact. Mm-hmm. So you can be white, Chinese, Indian. You know what I'm saying? Right. As long as what you teaching is right and exact, then I'm going to learn and listen to it. And the conscious community, like we restrict ourselves in our own thinking.
Yep. That's a fact.
Because it's like, I don't want to learn from this person or this institution, you know, because it ain't black. And I'm just like, well, if we knew a lot of our knowledge was stolen anyway, I'm personally going to go back to the motherfuckers who stole it, because I need to know. I need to know what's going on. I mean, I'm definitely going to go to my people, but I'm not going to close myself out, because this is how you stay competitive.
That's right.
So, and let me add to that. I want to add two things to what you just said before I lose my thought. I just want to add to you real quick. This didn't mean to cut your wisdom, but you are 100% correctly. Dr. Amos Wilson, in one of his lectures, he said, you know, he was addressing folks who say, I don't read books written by, you know, white people. He said, when you do that, you limit your perception.
Absolutely.
You limit your perception. So he doesn't recommend, you know, that attitude, that mentality. I wanted to add that. Two, Dr. John Henry Clarke and his, it was a documentary that he did with Wesley Snipes. I forgot the name of it, sisters, but he did a documentary with Weslly Snipes, and Wesley Snipes produced a sort of documentary featuring Dr. John Henry Clarke. I have it on my shelf, but I don't want to reach for it. But I forgot the name of it. But during that documentary, Dr. John Henry Clarke said when he wanted to learn about Africa and get knowledge of self, his teacher told him to go read European history. Go study European history and study European culture. And then I'll teach you culture. I say all that to say, Sister Riziki, like you said, we must read everything and not limit ourselves and limit our perceptions. So go ahead, sis. I just wanted to kind of get that out.
Absolutely.
And let me ask you guys this, okay? Because Dr. Amos Wilson always talks about the he talks about the ideology of individualism, right?
Right.
And he's saying that we have been inculcated with this ideology of individualism. And he said the only way to be a true individual is to live in outer space. He said, but as long as you're here, you belong to some sort of social order, meaning some family, some community, some structure. So is there really a such notion of a self-taught person? Because we learn from everything and everyone. So is that really to say that I'm self-taught? To say that I'm to say that I'm self-taught or I'm an autodidact and all of that bullshit. Are you really self-taught? Because if I pick up a history book written by Dr. Ben Jochannan, I hope that I'm pronouncing the ancestor's name correctly, but Dr. Yosef Ben Jochannan, some people say Jochanan, but you know, if I'm reading my history from him, am I really being self-taught, or is he teaching me by me reading his book?
He's teaching
He's teaching me. If I pick up a book by Dr. John Henry Clark, am I being self-taught or is he teaching me? So this whole notion of I'm self-taught, to me, my sisters, is bullshit. Exactly. Because we all learn from somebody. The only way to be truly self-taught is if you lived in outer space by yourself, you were born in outer space by yourself, and you discovered everything on your own in outer space in your own environment by yourself. But as long as you belong to a social structure here, a family, a community, or a society, we learn from each other. Google mirror neurons. Even inside of our brains, we have something, and I'm giving thanks to Dr. Patricia Newton, psychiatrist who studied under Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. In her last lecture, she talked about mirror neurons. Shout out to brother Minister Asar, who's in the chat room. In his last lecture, White Oppression, Black Trauma, he talked about mirror neurons. Inside of the human brain, we have mirror neurons that permit us to mimic what we see, to act out what we hear. And so are you really self-taught? You're not. So I just wanted to add that to the conversation, ladies.
Yeah, I get it. We get caught in the semantics part. I don't know. I sometimes it's a gift and a curse to just understand both sides all the time. I don't know, but I understand what he's saying, but I also understand why people say I taught myself how to do this. I mean, I just do. So I mean, I don't know. Like that's all. I just understand. You know what I'm saying? Because like even with, for instance, you know, there are things that, like, let's just say, you know, when you used to take stuff apart when you were little and put it back together. You know what I mean? Like, for me as a child, there was just something that was like, you know what, let me take apart this rotary phone, see, you know, take it all apart and then put it back together. You know, for me, and mind you, I probably never saw anybody do this. This was something in me that said, I want to take apart this phone and put it back together. And so I take apart this phone and I put it back together, and then I'm messing with stuff and I'm like, oh, well, maybe this relates to this. To me, that is me self-teaching. To me.
Right. I'm talking about brothers and sisters, sis, who pick up books and be like, I'm self-taught.
Oh, yeah, no. That ain't even enough. Yeah, no.
See, but I guess I would just be the petty one, because I would say that even though you took apart that phone, you probably seen somebody take something apart. There's something but not that you saw that showed you how to take things apart. You see what I'm saying? Even though you might not have seen someone take a phone apart.
Right.
In your subconscious, you saw someone take something apart. So it was something in you that you subconsciously or consciously learned that showed you how to take that shit apart. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying,
like I said, I understand both perspectives, you know, because it's one thing to be inspired by something and do nothing with it.
Right.
Versus be inspired by something and actually do it. And when you do it, that's actually where the real learning comes in. For me, just watching somebody, that ain't learning for me. For me to actually apply what I've learned and what I've seen, you know what I mean? To me, that's where the lesson is. That's the real teaching. But and again, everybody, you know, and see, this is why I'm very open and understanding, and sometimes even held back when we come to like being in a group and group think. Because just because I'm in your village, I don't have to think about things that you do in every single instance. You see what I'm saying? And everybody's perception of something is based on their own experience. So if you want to say you're self-taught, you go ahead and say that. I don't have to agree with it, but you go ahead and say it. You know, so at this point in life, I'm over semantics. I'm just like, okay, but what can you do with it? You're self-taught, but what can you do with it? You're self-taught, but what can you show me that you've experienced and you can apply and then it works?
Yeah, but I want people to understand that whole self, I. We got to get rid of that whole mentality. We got to get rid of it.
That's where you learned shows. It's in the application.
Yeah.
Like I said, you read 1 million books all you want, but if you can't apply what the hell you just read, you didn't learn anything.
Talk about it. Thank you. Yes.
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly. Show and prove. So sisters, let's move on. We then went in on degrees, you know, on the comment made by our dear brother, Dr. Wesley Muhammad. So let's get into the components of nation building. One, we talked about education. So we spend a lot of time talking about the need for education. We talked about, you know, having that intelligentsia. You got to have that intelligentsia present, you know, in nation building. And when you say stuff like we don't respect degrees and we don't respect this, to me, you scare off the intelligentsia among us. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that you're not intelligent if you don't have a degree. Please, I don't want anybody to take that.
No one's saying that.
Comment that degree out of context. But it's asinine to sit there and say, oh, you know, I don't respect the, you know, you kind of asinine comment, in my opinion. So we need that intelligentsia among us in order to build a nation. That might be folks who have degrees. It might be folks who have experience that are equated to having a degree. But we need intelligentsia among us to educate us during nation building. So what another component I would like to add for nation building is having healthy relationships, because we can't build a nation and not have healthy relationships.
Absolutely.
That is, you know, that is vital or key to building any relationship. I mean, any nation, having healthy relationships, having healthy male-female relationships, having healthy families. You know what I mean? Because remember, you know, when you're living in a community, you're living around a bunch of families. So those families need to be healthy families so we can have healthy communities. And then you can take these communities and interwove them into a healthy nation. So any other components you guys want to add regarding nation building, or if you want to expound on relationships?
You have to develop a body of government. Everybody always talk about nation building, but I have yet to hear anybody talk about building a body of government.
These are facts.
Like, how are you going to build a nation without the very first key component? It's the body of government. And not to mention that body of government, as I said earlier, has to work with the body of government that's already established here. So aside from that, and then re-identifying national, what is your national identity now? If you're going to build a nation now, who are you? Because if you're no longer going to be African Americans, because that's with the United States nation. Right. So who are you going to be now, and who makes that decision?
Yeah, that's very key. And like I know people don't like this group, but the only reason why I give them credit, because I learned a lot about nation building, and that's when I was studying with the Moors of the Great Seal. And so, you know, she's right. I definitely learned about like, what is a body politic and forming a government and nationality? What does it take to actually form a nation? You need a flag, you need bylaws, you need, you know, all the stuff that you see the Corporation of United States of America has. You know, we have to have that too. We have to have who's our governors, our mayors, our army, our police department. Like, yeah, really. But it's like we're not even, man, it's so much okay. Now I will say this, having a degree in political science or something, that's very necessary and practical. I'll back that 1,000%, you know, because in order to, you know, operate within this government, and this is why you see a lot of people in this Moorish walk getting in trouble, because you're not really understanding what Noble Jew Ali did. You're not really, or was trying to do, or left here for us to pick up, or at least imitate. Because what I learned, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Marcus Garvey and oh my gosh, Brother Muhammad was influenced by Noble Drew Ali. And this is why we have that whole movement of the well, they say, this could be wrong, but how the Nation of Islam was kind of able to correlate literally their nation, if you will. And as well as when the Garveyites, they were all trying to form their own nation as well. So, but people, you know, I'm gonna be honest, man, all this anger and shit in the conscious community, man, niggas ain't ready.
Exactly.
Because it takes work. And it takes study. And sometimes you're going to have to do stuff that you don't want to do. And it's going back to this self thing. It's not about you. It's for the greater good.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So somebody has to go out in this field and grow this food and build these houses.
Yes.
Because you don't want to work under the hot ass sun. You don't want to do it.
That's right.
So now I got to go find some Mexicans because they'll do it.
Thank you.
And then you're going to complain about why I'm not hiring black people because y'all don't want to do no damn work.
Talk about it, Queen. That's all we want to do is motherfucking talk. Ooh, excuse me.
Right, and we want solutions, but we don't want to do the work. And I think you brought this up, Dr. Mayat, when Killer Mike, and this is a famous example. Who know how to do this? Who know how to do that? Who know how to do this? And nobody was really raising their hand, but yet you screaming you want a nation build.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I talk about it all the time, Sister Riziki. And then you have brothers and sisters out here who present you with solutions, and you don't support the solutions.
Exactly.
You know, are you really about nation building? You know what I mean? Are you really about that? You know, I just want to add to the conversation group economics.
Right.
You got brothers and sisters that talk about Black empowerment, but you don't even want to buy and support your own brothers and sisters.
Exactly.
Like literally, Sister Alima and I were talking about how on Facebook, when we put up, when brothers and sisters, and she and I, you know, we share the same experience. When a brother or sister will put up a product, right? A book, you know, a service, a film, you know, a shirt, we don't buy it. We'll like it, we'll share it, but we don't go inside of we don't utilize our resources, our money, our dollars to support products and services, you know, that are produced by our brothers and sisters. So are we really ready for Black empowerment? Because Black empowerment is based on economics. We gotta support each other. And so if you can't even buy a damn book from one of your brothers and sisters, the hell you talking about we nation building?
Exactly.
You don't even spend your money with your own people.
And then
but you talking to me about nation building.
Yes. But then too, this is something we also got to talk about.
I mean,
okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's sad that when I looked on Facebook yesterday, someone put out a Buy Black challenge. How pathetic. A Buy Black challenge?
Wow.
Really?
Like
you need to be challenged?
Yeah.
You need to be challenged. Buy Black. Buying Black should be a lifestyle. I'm telling you right now, y'all, if I didn't look a mess because I went to the track, came home, got the show started, didn't shower yet. But I'm telling you, if I would put this damn camera on and just go around my place and show you all of the products that I have, just supporting Black businesses. How is it supporting Black businesses should be a lifestyle? It should be a cultural practice in your goddamn home. Now, I think it's pathetic that now on Facebook and social media, we have to be challenged to buy Black.
Or challenged to boycott. Yeah.
Challenge, and you know, and I'm not even with boycott. Fuck boycott. I'm tired of boycotting because boycotting is this. Okay, I'm going to stop patronizing you until you give me what I want. And then when you give me what I want, then I'll continue to patronize and enrich you. We don't need to boycott. We don't need to boycott. We don't need to boycott. We need to replace.
Exactly.
Fuck boycotting. Yeah. No more boycotting. We need to replace. So if you don't do this, we're not going to boycott you. We're going to replace you.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Get my definitions right. Because I swear I thought boycott was just don't fuck with them no more. I ain't.
Man.
Yeah.
When
Dr. Ma'at is saying that, yes, that is what it means. But like she said, it's always temporary. And my problem is unless boycotting is done on a major level, it's
like permanently. I thought boycotting
is pointless.
Don't ever. Oh, I see what you mean.
Like we got to be boycotting has to be something we're not unified to boycott because in order to boycott, everybody's got to be on the same damn page.
Yeah.
So if you got the conscious community, which probably represents 2% of African American population here, if that much, I won't even give them that much.
Yeah.
So, and then you have to talk about how many people within that little pathetic 2% are actually going to do what they said they're going to do. That's not going to affect the market whatsoever.
Yeah.
No.
Let me ask y'all a question. Okay. Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think, because y'all know, again, and we've talked about this before. Well, we've always been a tribal people, right? So do y'all think that energy of tribalism is affecting our inability to unify? Because we can be cliquish. Like I won't say Black people can't unify at all, because honey, if it's an NFL game or a Super Bowl, we can unify some shit, but the conditioning is, what is it about us that will have us unify about stuff that don't really matter versus the stuff that does? And also, do you feel like because that whole, maybe because I don't identify with everything you identify with, I can't unify with you? Because we have to take this into consideration. And even amongst Black people, this is why for me, I've stepped away from the belief that every single Black person is going to be unified. I hate that I had to step away from that belief, but I'm coming to a realization just based on my experience. It could be negative, but even for instance, with the Tantra crew that I'm whatever, to me, that's a part of my tribe, because not only do I heal with them, I do business with those people. And what allows us to get along is that they're not, I'm gonna just keep it real. I don't want to be bombarded by all the restrictive thinking that you restrict yourself with. You see what I'm saying? So when I want to do business and all that shit, I don't want to hear, oh, I ain't gonna do this because the white man do that, or I ain't gonna do this because you a Christian, and I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. I'm here to heal and I'm here to build. So I also feel that Black people unify based on just common interests. I may not want to build with you or unify with you because I don't rock on the same frequency that you rock with. And we got to be real about that. We've always been a tribal people. All tribes always got along. We had our own wars. So is it also a fault within us to think that, are we operating on false hope?
I would say, number one, I've never had the thought that all African American people, or whatever you want to call yourselves, would be unified. Because when you talk about even just from the continent, they've never all been unified.
Right.
Because if they were, it wouldn't have been so easy for the white man to come
when he told me something else is telling me he's wrong. That's all he wanted me to say. Go to the judge, mention my name, and tell him I said he's wrong.
What was that?
I said that, and he asked me for the judge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, say it again, Sis Salima, because
I'm saying that when you think about Africa, we've never been fully united.
Okay.
Even on the continent, because if we were, there would have been no way we would have been able to be infiltrated the way that we were, because we would have had like one massive army, or all the armies would have came together, all the kings would have talked to one another like, hey, look, these white people is coming in my town, let me let you know what's going on. They weren't close like that.
Yeah.
So that shows, you know what I'm saying? So I think from history, we have never been fully united. But the difference, I will say, that in Africa, they would, if need be, unite. But that's something that we won't do. Because we have plenty of reasons why we should be by now, but we still aren't.
And why do you think that is? And why do you think that is? And then wait, there was a second portion I wanted to ask you. Oh my God, because you made a really good point. I can't think of it now. Keep asking. Oh my God. Based on history, what have you learned from history? And this could be for Dr. Mayat too. Like the way we were infiltrated, what do you think we did wrong? Like, aside from, of course not unifying, but do you think like we were too trusting, or we should have been more prepared, because we were still operating with certain kind of weapons when others had like guns and stuff? Like, where do you see our faults?
I think the biggest issue was we were too kind. And when the white man came, they had the Bible and we had the land. So they came to us on some old. They knew that we were spiritual people. So they came to us on a spiritual way. And that's how they were able to bridge the gap. Not aside from they had guns. So we can't leave out the guns now, because I mean
technology,
we can have all the machetes that we have in the world, but I mean it's not gonna stop no bullet.
Right. That's right. Technology, right? You said it, right, Dr. Maya?
Exactly.
That's right.
Okay, so it is.
And then I just want to add to the brothers and sisters who are listening to this broadcast, go get Chancellor Williams' Destruction of the Black Civilization.
Yes.
If you want to understand what happened and why and how they were able. But like Sister Alima said, and I agree 300% with her, that we were what Dr. Sheikh Anti-Jope describes as Shank Anti-Jope. He said that we were xenophilic people, that we embraced all cultures. And he was saying that Europeans were or are like xenophobic people, so they were fearful of different cultures. But he said we were a very embracing culture, and that was our downfall. And just like Sister Alima said, they understood who we were. And even Jomo Kenyatta said when the white man came to Africa, you know, we had the land and he had the Bible. He said the white man taught us to get on our knees and pray. When we opened our eyes, they had the land and then we had the Bible. So I agree with her on that point. And then, like she said, the damn technology. They had the guns. They had the guns and they were getting the gunpowder from the Chinese. So they had the guns, they had the gunpowder, and they had the technology. And that led to the downfall of our civilizations, among other things. That Brother Chancellor Williams discusses in Destruction of the Black Civilization. So go on, Sister Ezekiel. I think you had to add something else, or did you want to get?
I was just closing those questions off. I asked it because like those questions help me put into perspective the reality of the state of our people, and I just feel like sometimes we will be able to better execute things if we start thinking in that reality. Those answers y'all just gave, if we start thinking in that reality, and going back to the whole nice thing, or you know, like understanding that we had a life so abundant, so we didn't have to be so cutthroat and evil or whatever have you, because everything we needed was already provided naturally.
Exactly.
So we was not groomed to be cutthroat and I want this, so I'm going to take it from you. But we've learned, and this is another reason why I say, listen, sometimes I've learned to be cutthroat from white people. Even though Black people did damage me as well, but my first teachings in being cutthroat was from white people. And so I see the value in picking up certain things from other cultures, because it makes me wiser in some areas than my ancestors. And we also have to be okay with saying that. A lot of the stuff that our ancestors did, even though they may have had the right intention in mind, but it just wasn't the right thing. And that's just my take on it. And as we are living in this day, we too are going to be ancestors. So we have to start doing the right things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I see the sister joined the conversation. Sister Spy, where are you, sister? I see you I had to mute your mic when you came in because it was a little noisy. Can you unmute your mic, Sister Spy?
Peace, Queen. Sister Safira here. Spadula.
Peace, sis. How are you, sis?
I'm well. How are you all doing?
We're doing fine, sis. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate your presence, sis. What are your thoughts? Share your thoughts with us. Tell us what's on your mind.
Oh, I'm just listening, and I just wanted to, because I saw that you commented, Dr. Wesley had made a comment about the African studies being BS, and that you commented that, you know, you were asking him to come on, and I just wanted to hear what the sisters was talking about. That's all.
Oh, yeah.
I had the time. I said, let me come in on, sister, because, you know, I love you from afar, from where I'm at, and all the sisters, but follow Dr. Matt. So I wanted to just come in and listen on. And listen to the Queen's build.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I was just we were just inboxing each other, Dr. Wesley Muhammad and myself, because I told him that we were discussing his comment, and I just, you know, I like to be real with folks. You know what I mean? Like when I'm discussing someone, I don't want them to, you know, I wanted to let them know I'm discussing with you know, the statement that you made. Yeah, I didn't want him to think that I was just talking about him behind his back or criticizing him behind his back. So I was like, look, you know, we're live right now discussing your comment. Would you like to come on, you know, and talk about it or elaborate or expound on what you meant by a degree in Africana studies not being impractical, being a practical degree? And he was saying that he inboxed me and he said, you know, I declined a lot of shows, and he said, Doc, I would come on your show. He said, but you know, I'm a little busy, and you know, but I would definitely come on your show. He said to discuss it. But he said he was, you know, engaged in something else. But I wanted to let him know that he was, you know, being discussed. I didn't want a YouTube video go up and then it's like, oh, the sister's banging on me, or you know.
Yes, man. Yeah. Just an FYI, so it doesn't seem like it's anything. Just being transparent. I am a part of the ALA team, but that's not why I came on. I came on because I genuinely just wanted to hear. And if he did come on, that would have been awesome. But I wanted to hear because he did build on it a little bit, you know, on the Breakfast Club recently when he was on there. And I don't think he was, I think part of what he was saying was, it's not that you shouldn't study it, but he was like, there's so many of the youth that are coming up and becoming scholars, like they're focusing on that, but they're not really focusing on the actual building of the civilization versus just learning about it. So I know that was kind of like, you know, part of his positioning. And so he was saying, in order for us at this point to really make some things happen, we have to tap into the agriculture and, you know, things of that nature, but not necessarily just damning the Africano studies, but applying how our ancestors built the kingdoms that they can't even build now. You know, they can't even tap into the mathematics of those kingdoms now. So I think he was going that route. And if I know him, he's probably going that route with that conversation. But I can't wait to hear it later on. But I definitely, if I ever can get Dr. Matt and you and him rather on the line, I'm trying to be there for that conversation, because I know that you know, I don't know the rest of you sisters, but I know you sisters are very intelligent, and that's the energy that I'm trying to be, you know, around and build with. So alhamdulillah, thank God, you know, all praises due.
Absolutely, sis. And absolutely, sis. And I, you know, that's why I gave him an opportunity. I sent the link. Yeah, I posted it on under his I think he put up a post about an hour ago. So I put the link under there and then I inboxed him. But I think that's where he was going. And as I said, you can you know, rewind the broadcast back whenever you get an opportunity. But I was saying that I think that Dr. Wesley Muhammad, when he said that, when he called it impractical, I think that the way he said it offended folks.
Right.
I kind of, and I was saying this, I understood what he was trying to say. At least I think that I understood what he was trying to say. But I think the way he worded it just offended a lot of folks. You know, I agree that we need both. I stand on that. I think, you know, we need both, and I don't discount anyone's degree. I think we need it all. We need our engineers, we need our mathematicians, we need our scientists, we need our, I was even saying that we need people who have degrees in physical education. I think we need it all. Yeah, we need it all. So I was saying that I would never deter or deter someone from pursuing, you know, non-STEM degrees. And I would never down anybody for pursuing, you know, degrees outside of the STEM area. So I just think that it was just how he worded it. And I'm looking kind of clean today when he goes live at I think it's going live at 5 p.m. Central Time. So
that would be. Oh, okay. I got to check that out. But yeah, I agree with you too, you know, because I'm very free and open. Like, I really don't judge. I try not to judge people's, you know, studies and or positioning. I just listen and, you know, just try to what works for me, so to speak. But I know that as scholars, sometimes you're so, you know, kind of like stuck in how you roll. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's always good to have the sisters, though, because, you know, the sisters always know how to bring that balance, that feminine energy and balance. And yeah, I agree with you. Not to deter, but to even just enhance on, you know, get the Africano studies, but do a minor in agriculture, or if that's even possible. I'm definitely not as studious as you all. I'm a birth worker. That's my work. I help the mommies have the babies, and but
we need you.
We need you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, exactly.
That's true. That's important.
Everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Very important.
So, yes, ma'am. So, you know, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I definitely, but I'm excited to hear what he, you know, what his position is too, because he's, you know, I just love to listen.
Sis, and do me a favor when you
though, sis. I really do. Because I not even listening to the whole thing, but I do think from what you said, his main thing was not to discredit, but if you get a degree in that, like, how do you apply it? You know, aside from at a university. And I think that's what really matters. If you're going to go get a degree, like, just make sure the way you apply it, I guess, contribute in a good way.
Yeah, I think and I think that he was just trying to encourage more people to get involved in the STEM areas, and we need that encouragement. How he went about it, you know, offended some folks. You know, the wording and what he said. Oh, it's impractical. You know, and he knew it because he said, "I know I'm going to upset a lot of people." So he gave that caveat before he even made the statement. He's like, "I know I'm going to offend a lot of people, but you know," he's like, "some people have BS degrees," and then he said, "No, and I know that I'm going to offend some folks." And they were like, and Charlemagne the God said, "Well, no, go ahead, doctor. You know, what do you mean?"
Yeah, that was Envy. Envy said, "Go ahead, offend them."
Yeah. Go ahead and say it. And he was like, "Well, Africana studies," you know what I mean? So
maybe he couldn't say how to apply it.
Yeah, I think he knew. So you know, I'm looking forward to the brother clearing that up, you know, on that. So, sister, we were talking about the different components to nation building. So you know, the sisters talked about, you know, relationships and how we have to have healthy relationships between males and females, family and communities. You know, to build a nation. You know, one of the sisters said a body of government, a national identity. We talked about education for a long time. We talked about economics, practicing group economics, learning to produce, you know, our own goods and services, and then, you know, trading and selling them to one another. So keeping the wealth within our community. So practicing group economics, practicing group politics, protection, learning how to protect our, you know, our men, women, and children, our communities. I also wanted to add that, you know, I'm of the opinion that we need to create and implement and control another culture, a whole culture, you know, that's predicated on thriving. I think that right now, you know, in our community, we have a culture. We actually have a very destructive culture, in my opinion. But in our culture, we promote a survival instinct. You hear a lot of people saying, "I'm just trying to survive," and I think that we need to upgrade our survival instinct to a thriving instinct.
That's right.
I don't want to just survive, because just surviving means that I've become complacent with maybe living paycheck to paycheck.
That's right.
Having groceries in my house for my children, sending my children to the school around the corner, which might be sending them through a poor educational process. Who knows? So, you know, I think that we need to upgrade our survival instinct to a thrival instinct. And that will cause us to create and adopt a whole new culture than what we have now. Because I'm learning that, go ahead, sis.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, sis. Bill, sis.
Oh, no, I was just saying that. I had just wrote that down, what you said. I wrote changing the environment and culture and habits from one of mediocrity and failure to one of higher performance and improving success. Because it's like,
that's right.
We
oh my goodness, can you put that? Can you put that on Facebook, sis, and tag me in it, please? Okay. That was awesome.
Yeah, tag me too, honey.
Tag me in that one.
I share, yes.
You know, we live in a mindset, like you said, of mediocrity and failure, and we're okay with just making it day to day or just making it week to week. Like, we will never elevate as a people as long as we're content with mediocrity. And our environment and our culture, in order for us to be able to thrive in a positive way, it's going to be hard to do that within the environment that we live in.
Hello.
We live in a oversexed, overzealous, all about money type of environment. So how do you bred and raise people in the way that they need to be? Because you can teach your kids, like me and Dr. Mott was just talking about, what they need to learn and all of that. But society is always going to be their first teacher. Now, they may come back to what it is that you taught them as a parent, but they're going to learn from the outside world more.
Yes.
So how do we do that and build within the environment that we're in?
That's so interesting because that, that kind of goes into the whole idea of separation.
Exactly.
And I was thinking, am going to be on doing some missionary work, and this is under the guise of straight pro blackness, and I'll be leaving, God willing, in August to Belize to um, set up a space for healing and also community with a few brothers and sisters and investors that are wanting to see what Belize is like. And I know that a lot of us feel, we feel attached to the states in America, and our ancestors have worked this land and made it what it is, and we feel really attached to it. But part of me feels like I'm really like attached to the entire hemisphere. Like this is my world, more or less, my country. So it's like wherever I set shop up, I should feel like, wherever I am, I should feel like this belongs to me. So part of it is like almost detaching from the environment. And I know it's just easier said than done. But part of it to me is just like really having another plan outside of the states and setting up, relationships with, the Caribbean, and, and not just Africa. You know what I'm saying? There's Africa in the Caribbean, and there's Africa in South America. There's so many untouched lands. Like Belize is it's not even 400,000 people there, more or less having a city that I live in, Atlanta, where it's over 9 million people. You know what I mean? But part of it I'm thinking is the separation aspect. Yes, not just a part of America, part of a massive land in America, but even going abroad and literally just vacating from the way of this world. You know what I mean? It may be far fetched, but part of me, like for me, that's how I feel like I'm going to go, and God willing, everything works out the way we plan it. And I really just want to be able to set up an Exodus plan for people that don't even want to be bothered.
Repatriation. That's all me and my husband are talk about. It's all about repatriation for me. Because when people keep using that excuse, my ancestors built this land. First of all, okay, they didn't do that shit because they wanted to.
Hello.
That's right.
Y'all act like they went and filled out applications. It was like, yeah, I want to build this. They
right.
Didn't have a choice.
Right.
So why?
And then you can't even hold on to the value that they left.
Exactly.
Right. And not to mention, I will say too, I don't believe every single black person in America was a slave. There was a way
exactly.
There was way more. Well, I ain't gonna say more, but there was a lot of free black people.
Exactly.
I tried to find slavery in my family tree, and it's nothing. I've seen more free black people in my family tree than I saw evidence of slavery. And so even with that attachment, like you were saying, you're attaching yourself to this notion out of a guilt. And I'm like, if you could hear your ancestors, do you really think that they will want you tied down to one spot off of a construct? And for me, I feel like you, sis, everything in this world is mine. So there's not going to be no culture, no religion, no language, no nothing that you're going to tell me I can't tap into, because I influenced it all. If I didn't start I influenced it all. And so
that's right.
For me, what a lot of conscious communities, and I ain't going in front, even some, not all, but some African center community, I can't rock with you all the way because your mind's too restricted. You becoming just as dogmatic in your own stuff, just like how you talk about these Christians coming dogmatic in theirs. And so for me, and this is why I said the tribe, because not all black people will think like me, and that's okay. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with that. But I don't have to be as restricted in my thought as you. I am going to move across this world. I'm going to learn all languages. I'm going to do whatever my spirit tells me to do. And that's right. How I operate. I don't even construct myself to being identified as an African, because before the word Africa, what was I?
Exactly.
Before I was in this body, what was I?
That's right. And you know what? For me to kind of tap into that. So my mother was born in Puerto Rico, and in the beginning of this year, I went to Puerto Rico, and I was there for 2.5 weeks. And, I got family there. So I got a real hands-on, experience there. And I was just like, okay, this is real Eurocentric. I was feeling the culture based on the water and the fruit and my people, the language, them talking or whatever. That's just me growing up with it. But I did not find anything Afro about it. Was nothing there for me per se. Now there were beaches and salt bays, and I saw a lot of healing. I saw the cotton. I saw things that I said, wow, this is so beautiful. Yunque, the rainforest. But when I went to Belize, I felt home. Now that was different. Belize was so untouched. I felt ancestor there. I did not feel that in Puerto Rico, which I was really shocked I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was, wow, my mother got to, be born in this beautiful enchanted island, but it wasn't no culture for me. You know what I'm saying? As a self-proclaimed Moorish or black woman, you know what I'm saying? When I went to Belize, I felt like this is home. And it was the faces of the Mayan people that are still walking around looking just like their ancestors, those who they told us were wiped out. It was the little African villages I was cutting through, with the predominantly dark skin, family. It was the patois that they call it what do they call it? Creole.
Creole.
It was, their Creole, which is just, a patois. It was just a whole nother energy. So for me, it was like, okay, because I've said years ago, I'm just gonna move to Belize. Like I never even knew where Belize was on the map. I didn't know anything about it. Just back in the day when I was still in my 20s, that's what I said. When I get out of here, when I leave America, I'm going to Belize. But now at this point, I've decided, let me start looking at the different islands. I've been to Mexico, I've been to Puerto Rico, I've been to Trinidad. Belize, all hands down, stuck out to me, just energetically being there. And from being there, coming back here, I'm looking at the states. And while I'm driving, because I drive a lot from Atlanta to New York, and I travel a lot within our states, and I'm looking at it like, wow, I didn't even notice how beautiful it is here. So Belize is like opened me up to even just look and say, wow, the world is mine. And I can see beauty in everything, but I definitely want to escape, the claws of the United States. Is just like you said, I'm the mother of civilization. Why am I limited to one place? Because my ancestors, if they were the ones who suffered here, suffered. I'm not attached to slavery because I know that is not the beginning of my lineage.
That's right.
So it was really deep in a beautiful experience, and I pray that we can really sustain and maintain out there and get things going the way that I envision it, because a lot of my sister friends are like, oh man, you're leaving, and I'm like, I'm leaving, but I'm setting up somewhere for you to go. You don't have to go all the way across to Africa. We could drive to Central America. You know what I'm saying? And get going. So anyway, I don't want to go off the conversation, but this was my experience, and so it just makes me look at the states like this United States is a straight up pimp. They got us thinking that we are missing out. We ain't missing out on nothing at all, except we don't have our own trees and fruits and vegetables that we know we can secure without them injecting nonsense with, and so it just really, we have to get out of that culture of, like you said, just the struggle culture, and that also goes back to some of the conversation that Dr. Wesley was talking about, that nigger culture that we've attached ourselves to, that nigger culture, and us really relying on it. Like somewhere down the line, we really forgot, beyond what the white man has done to us, we've now even intoxicated ourselves even more. And with all the information that we have, I feel like at some point we got to just take, like he was saying, die nigga die. Like this nigga stuff got to die, because it's suffocating, and it creeps.
It's the struggle. Like, let's not call it a struggle. I mean, even though, like, you know, like, because thoughts are things, and how we speak is what we manifest. And as I was typing in the thing, there's some Black people who cannot relate to what we talk about because they never experienced racism, they never experienced poverty, they never, you know what I'm saying? None of that. So some of these, what we're talking about in this conversation, some Black people be like, yo, I feel you, but I can't even relate because I have not experienced the thing that you've experienced. And so again, like that niggerdom stuff I was just talking about, yeah, I try to watch my language. Like, I'm not going to call this the struggle. Right. That's exactly what it's going to keep being when you keep saying that. And again, if we want to talk about our ancestors and what we knew the power of thought and word and all that stuff. Change the language. And start speaking life instead of all this. That's why I come to a lot of these events. All these people, and I'm starting to get emotional because y'all, like, we don't understand spelling that we're doing on each other. So when I don't come to your events, it ain't personal. I don't want to hear that shit. Tell me positive stuff. I don't want to keep hearing about the struggle. I know when these movies come out, I'm not watching that shit. I know it existed. Show me something else. We're so comfortable talking about the struggle. Talk about life, man. Give me life. Stop fucking killing me.
Right. I feel you. I agree with you on that one.
And before I got cut off, what I was saying was there was another sister, Latavia somebody, but she moved to Belize too. And this sister is known on Facebook. Like, she will cuss somebody out over her kids. Like, oh my God. And she's such a strong, powerful sister. And she was just talking about, like, the difference in everything. Like you said, with the environment, a lot of people don't realize, but you know, some of our behavior has to do with all these electromagnetic fields and shit that we around. Like, y'all gotta understand this, man. The amount of research that was done to understand who we are and how we operate, just for them to put in place certain things to throw us off, is freaking amazing. It's freaking amazing. And we just got it. Like, okay, let's get off my pulpit. I'm getting emotional.
So, sisters, I hate to cut it short, but I have got to go. I have to leave. I'm so glad that I came on and I got to hear y'all. I am Facebook friends with Dr. Mayat, but I would like to be connected with you all as well. How can I do that? My name is Safira.
How you spell it?
Safira. On Facebook it's Adams Proton, but and the last name is Yasin. Yasin.
Okay, I found you.
Thank you so much for your time. I love you all.
Love you.
We're definitely all family, and I will be paying attention and making sure I get on here with y'all again.
Oh, we love you too, sis. Thank you for joining us. Yes, thank you for joining us. I appreciate the bill.
Thank you for having me and having this forum. Peace, family.
Peace. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. You too.
I want to add before we close, family, that we're getting ready to close. I want to add that the brothers in the chat room were talking just now about resources. You know, one of the components to nation building, they said are resources. We need access to natural resources.
Right.
Well, who is the biggest or largest? Who is the possessor of the largest amount of natural resources?
Africa.
So we have to connect with our brothers and sisters on the continent. That's why I salute Brother Marcus, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, when he Black Star Line, because that permitted brothers and sisters in the diaspora to trade with each other. You know what I mean? It's so much I want to say, family. I came from a meeting a few days ago, and Sister Raziki knows what I'm talking about. Like 2 days ago, I had a powerful meeting with a brother, and he brought in 2 other brothers. Well, one of the brothers was a Liberian politician, and another brother has a budget for $4 million, and they're trying to renovate a district right here in Baltimore. And so I'm not going to disclose everything online, you know what I mean? But we're working resources. That's why he reached out to the politician in Liberia. And the Liberian politician was talking about how they have oil and diamonds and gold there. I mean, we have to reconnect with our brothers and sisters on the continent. We need a food courier outside of the U.S. We have to, brothers and sisters. And that's why what you're doing, Sister Riziki, as far as going over to Kenya and getting land there and cultivating that land with fruits and vegetables and herbs, that is very vital. You know what I mean? And so we got to reconnect with our brothers and sisters on the continent, because we need resources.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We need resources, And so I just wanted to add that. I saw the brothers building in the chat room on that when we were talking about components for nation building. We need resources.
Yep, that's why I want to repatriate back to where everything is. I ain't got to move to some Spanish country and get everything imported in, and then you paying somebody else for importation, and it's just the same old.
But I think we've always been in an import-export, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I would love it if, I'm cool with import-export as long as it's from the African nation of whatever said country we importing from, Exactly. And it's definitely important to just connect with the nation within the nation. So Black people, I just hope we travel more, man. It's a beautiful thing. It really is.
Get a passport, family. If you don't have a passport, get a passport. Go somewhere. Start small.
Absolutely. All right, Sister Riziki, are you there?
Yeah, I'm just in my feelings a little bit.
All right, I can dig it. I can tell. I want you to shout the chat room out, sis. I left you a note. But shout out the chat room. And while you're scrolling up, I just want to say that even in nation building, family, we talk about it, but man, we have to take total control of the educational process of our babies. Total control of the educational process of our babies. We need to give our babies a communal mindset. And that communal mindset is cultivated in their educational process. Teaching them to be thinkers, teaching them about group economics, teaching them nation building skills is a part of our educational process. And we don't control the educational process of our babies. So in nation building, we have to start by building our babies. You already know, I tell you guys all the time. I know Sister Riziki wants to heal the adults, and I understand why. Because at the end of the day, while you building these babies, you can't send them home to broken adults, right?
Hello.
So we also have to work on adults. But I'm a believer of Frederick Douglass. It's better to build children than repair broken men. That's my philosophy. But I agree with Sister Riziki that we need it all. So sis, go ahead.
It's easier.
Yeah, it's easier
to build children than to repair broken.
Yes.
Somebody gotta do it.
Yeah, somebody got to do it, Sister Riziki, and I don't have the patience. So, Sister Riziki, look, that's why we need folks like you, man, because I'm telling you, with adults, my patience runs short. But anyway, shout out the chat room, Sister Riziki, so we can close up, and then I want to play something for the people who are watching, for Black women. I want Black women to understand your brilliance, your strength, and your beauty. So I want to close out with that video. But go ahead, shout out the chat room, Sister Riziki.
So we have Sean P in the building, Rochelle, Cody, we have Lessa Darcy, we have Jason Harris, we have Calvin McDougall in the building. We also had Doug. What's up, Doug? And I'm trying to see some new names that came later on. Oh, brother Asar Winkler. Okay, big shout out to him. And there was Jehudi Mayat, and we have Delia Briggs. We got T Duck, and I think that is it.
That's it, sis.
Yes, I already said Calvin McDougall. Yeah, Delia Briggs. I said T Duck. Did I? I don't know, but T Duck. Yep, that's it, sis. Because it, the same people comment.
All right, bet.
Oh, the sis is on there too. Sorry. Yeah, that's it.
Peace to the sis. I've been trying to get her on. I've been trying to get her on the show, but she keep running from us. So hopefully one day she'll join us. Hopefully one day she will join us. So with that said, family, I'm going to play this video. Dr. Ivan Van Sertimer and Dr. John Henry Clark discuss the brilliance of the Black woman. Black woman, understand your brilliance, understand your beauty, and understand your strength. We will see you guys next time with Tea Talk with the Sisters every Wednesday from 1 p.m. until. Peace and power, family.
Peace, family.
Studies have come out which shows that a Black woman mothers all people on the planet at this time. Woman, in fact, is physiologically more complex than the name. Hence, Eve cannot come out of Adam, only Adam can come out of Eve. Africans have created the myth of Isis and Osiris. Isis and Osiris, unlike Adam and Eve, give you a vision of the completeness of the human through the equality of the male and the female. We understood that the role of the one, while being different, was equal in importance. And there were times when the role of a woman and the role of a man was one and the same. Many of the goddesses of the Europeans were Black. The goddess of chastity was a Black woman, Artemis. They could have chosen their own women, they chose some of their own women, but the most important goddesses were Black as the life giver. We recognize that role as being over and above something that man could do. And that is the woman. Of the southern and eastern Africa, that is the Black woman, total, final, complete, Homo sapiens sapiens, that produces other people. That is the fundamental mother of mankind.